Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Love is Blind UK Season 2, Episode 2. My name is Brittany Simon. We do philosophy through pop culture. We're using real people's lives to learn about our own. Let's see what happens.
I think there comes a time where you have to kind of be honest with people.
Okay, I forgot. So basically, he needs to confront her, that's kind of a weird word, about her job being cabin crew. Let's see what he decided.
What was it about them that didn't work?
You know what I mean? Because it was the way how sporadic our shifts were kind of working. We tried really hard. It just kind of fizzled out.
So this is Billy, and he's just expressing what I think is very typical in terms of fears is you're going to be gone. We're not going to see each other. How are we going to form a relationship off of this? I think he's right to think about his past relationships in regards to this one as it pertains to the fact that she'd be away for a while, not the fact that her job is literally cabin crew. But I think it's like dating somebody in the military or dating somebody who's a truck driver. It's just difficult. I think it's difficult on everybody. You know, so I think he's being pretty reasonable here to express this fear. Let's see if she's willing to change her job, which I remember from the last episode, she said she was open to.
There's so many common grounds that we've got, and I get butterflies with you, and I don't get that with every other guy. The thing that I feel with you is that I've got a future.
So Ashley is saying that she does see a future with him. She feels like she gets butterflies. They have a connection. You know, it's interesting. We're only on episode 2. I don't feel like I've had the time to really know them as characters, see their connection and compatibility. I mean, I see it superficially, but, you know, I don't know if this is a week into the pods or 2 hours into the pods. I don't really know how many hours they've had together to really have those hard conversations and then build intimacy enough to connect, enough to get married.
I want kids. I want that person. I want my teammate.
Find my person that I want to marry and, you know, build a tribe with. With work, there is opportunities to go on the ground. So 9 to 5 work could be in the picture. If we wanted to have a family and flying it didn't suit us.
Okay, I love that they're using team language. So he says, I want a teammate. I want to find my person. She's agreeing. She said, if being in the air doesn't work for us, then a 9 to 5 could be an option, which is really great. Again, you want to choose yourself, but not at the expense of the team. And you want to choose the team, but not at the expense of yourself. So I like the team language they're using. I like the us language they're using, because ultimately when you choose a life companion and you're doing life together, you got to be on the same page, right?
It obviously means a lot to me, the family, and the fact you've said that is massive to me. The more we talk about it, this could work.
Okay, and he's reassuring her that, well, now that we've talked about it, I guess it can work, which I assumed would happen given their communication style. And just like this last episode or two, it seems obvious to me that they would at least talk about it first, unless he was really, really doubting their connection and was looking for a way out or something.
I'm always smiling, and you're the only one I've connected on in every single level.
Yeah, me too.
Thought of you in like a little sexy dress on my arm, just, oh.
All right. The heterosexuality is a little much right now, but okay, cute.
So Rover's got an Indian heritage, it's obviously very important to her. I've got my Pakistani heritage, it's important to me. I hope it's not going to sort of crop up later and like mess things up. There's definitely no issues about you marrying guys mixed race, but the other side is from Pakistan.
I always did have it in my head that I need to like make everybody proud.
Yeah.
I have to make my parents proud, I have to make my grandparents proud. So for example, someone whose background is sort of similar, whether they're Indian or along down that route.
So this is Kale. He's a gym owner and 31. And this is Sarover, and she's 29. So they're talking about their differences in terms of heritage. He's Pakistani, she's Indian. And since there can be tension there, they're covering the basics of, is this going to be an issue, which I think is so important when you're doing anything to do with interracial, intercultural, anything that's like out of the norm of your bubble. It's really important to have these conversations.
And I almost put what I was looking for so far aside.
She's speaking to the pressure of being a high performer, the family expecting a lot from you, you expecting to put your sort of needs and wants to the side, and how, you know, she's ready to choose herself.
That I lost what I was actually wanting.
Have you only dated Indian guys then?
Yeah, and I realised that I need to reset and go back to what does Sarover want. That undoing so many years of upbringing, it took a long time. Actually, my parents turn by turn did apologise to me and sat me down. They said, no, you need your own experiences. You shouldn't have had the pressure of what we had.
Breaking generational trauma, breaking generational curses. We love to see it. Just love the idea that her family, her parents sat her down and said, like, you don't have to struggle just because we did. And like, to say, I don't want you to experience that pressure is so important.
Even my grandparents are so open, and we have such mixed marriages in the family now.
Right? Grandparents are open, parents are open, and they've had mixed marriages in the family. We love to see it.
Putting myself first is why this is just so exciting for me.
Love that. Special, isn't it?
Yeah.
I feel like even though that glasses are, I feel like I'm going to be really attracted to you.
They're talking about physical attraction, whether they'd be into each other. And he says, I have a feeling I'll be into you. Everyone on the show is like attractive. You know what I mean? And that's one of the criticisms Love is Blind gets every year. The contestants are too attractive. I think also because we're dating for marriage, it's also going to be an older group of people who are more established than if we were doing a show with people who are 19 and 20 and 21. Well, we wouldn't expect them to be, so put together. But ultimately, I think that plays a role in who ends up showing up on the show. Plus, the show, at least in the US, does pay them. So another part of the reason people do show up on Love is Blind is because they get a paycheck. There's a lot of factors that bring in a certain type of contestant.
The feeling is so mutual. I don't put my heart on the line for anybody.
So they're into each other. It's a little superficial, I think. Again, no one's having like truly deep conversations yet, but we're only the second episode in, so I get it. But, some seasons of Love is Blind, they spend a lot of time in the pods. I wonder how many episodes I'm going to get of them in the pods before they start meeting,
So technically, I've been single my whole life. I've never had like a serious long-term relationship. I live on my own right now, me and my little kitten Panther. I'm like the old cat lady, but I'm young and I'm a man.
We love a cat lady.
Everyone sees my big smile. It gets me indoors sometimes. It gets me thrown out of doors sometimes.
Now, he said he's never technically been in a relationship. He's 28, health coach, never been in a relationship. What does that mean? I always wonder about that. Did you not hold hands with somebody in high school? Did you not see somebody for 3 months in college? Did you not, go out with somebody for a weekend date or something? I get it though, if you haven't been in a relationship where you've brought someone home to your parents or, called somebody boyfriend, girlfriend, partner or something, I could understand that. But that's not, that big of a deal either. Being 28 without a relationship, it's really not that deep. There's so many other things in life you can focus on before you think about dating. And I look forward to a world that destigmatizes not only a lack of sexual experience, but also a lack of dating experience. Because genuinely, there are so many other ways to be social, to be successful. There's so many other goals to focus on instead of prioritizing and defining yourself by partnership.
I'm a charmer. I don't find it difficult to date multiple women.
He just said he doesn't have a problem dating multiple women. So he's a player, basically. He's basically saying, I sleep with women, I date women, I'm physical with women, I never pick women, I never honor our connection, I've never connected with a woman. It makes me wonder what makes him think he's ready for marriage now.
I'm very competitive, naturally. Hey, how'd you go? How'd you go, bro?
He just said, hide your girl, hide your girl. Is he insinuating he'd steal her? This man isn't ready for marriage.
I don't need to compete for women.
This is what I mean when I say I'm not attracted to men. Whatever this patriarchal thing is right here, I am not attracted to it. I happen to be attracted to people who happen to be men, but this masculine, just peacocking is so unattractive. It's so young and egotistical. He's obviously handsome. He's obviously well-dressed. He's obviously got a style. It's just his personality sucks. And when your personality sucks, ugh. So yeah, no wonder you've never had a girlfriend.
Ultimately, I came here to find my wife. They say that men that are married live longer. I want to live a long, happy life.
Yeah, that's because women do all the emotional labor and we take care of men that are big boys, big babies, big teenagers, and we end up making you live longer because we feed you better and treat you better because you won't treat yourself better. And then we end up being stressed our whole life because we're taking care of big babies.
Who am I talking to?
Katisha.
Katisha.
Katisha, run away, girl.
Who's this?
Javen.
Javen.
Cool. So where are you from?
I'm from Scotland.
Hey, I'm from London.
London boy.
So he's 28, Javen, and Katisha's 31. Oh, and she's a nanny and a makeup artist. I got my little notes here.
I used to play for Crystal Palace.
Ask him what he thinks about Andrew Tate. He feels like an Andrew Tate watcher.
And the surgeon told me that I wouldn't be able to play football again. I always loved training, so it was just kind of a natural progression. I kind of just fell into it.
Yeah, I just feel like I'm in a really good place now and I'm ready to have something sustainable and something genuine.
Why do you feel like nothing's materialised over the last 6 years for you?
I feel like I'm quite gentle with my heart because I've had messed with a few times by people that I thought that I trusted.
Okay, so they're sharing, he's asking questions. He played sport, had knee surgery. Now he's sort of like a teacher and fitness coach. She has been single for 6 years, had a traumatic breakup. The man cheated on her multiple times and she just really believed him and had faith in their relationship. And that level of betrayal is so, so real. I hope she's had a lot of support and therapy and stuff like that. But he seemed to react pretty good to it. He seemed to be, appropriately empathetic. So that's a good sign.
Do you have a big family?
Yeah, I'm the oldest of 7.
Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, what about you?
I'm the youngest of 5.
He feels like the youngest. He does feel like the youngest of 5. Yeah. I don't think he's ready to get married. He is too much of a youngest sibling energy. But I think their age gap is fine and everything, though she does seem slightly more mature than him, if not much more mature than him. The age gap really isn't that big of a deal. But it's the energy difference between the two of them. Maybe they could be complementary for each other, but I doubt it. I doubt he's ready. I don't see him as I'm I'm a grown up yet. Like, he doesn't feel like husband material yet.
Katisha has like a very kind spirit. I feel like there's a lot of vulnerability there.
She does have a kind spirit, and there's vulnerability and a few wounds. So you better treat her with care. That's what I'm concerned about, is he doesn't have the maturity to treat her with the care needed. Like, imagine him raising a kid. You know, it's like, he seems like a kid. So you know what I mean? I just don't think, I think he needs a couple more years to mature.
I'm good, thank you.
Who's this, sorry?
Demola.
Demola? You speak really quiet.
I will try and speak louder if that if that helps.
I can hear you, but I'm just like, it's nice, it's like soft. Do you date much?
I would say no, not really. I'm not trying to just settle. I want to make sure that the person I am with is my soulmate and I can love her up forever, honestly, and I mean that.
I like him so much more. This is Demola, and Demola is 30 and a financial analyst. Seems a lot more grown in a sense, like, you know, just something about his energy. He's also, she pointed out, very quiet, but it's kind of like demure and cutesy. It's very like thoughtful seemingly, maybe. I think the other guy's energy was just a little bit too like, you know, his energy is a little bit more like, and I think that's more suited maybe for even her personality. So I guess they're going to have a love triangle.
I feel like I wasn't really dating with purpose, and I want to find my soulmate. I want to be in love. I want something genuine, like a genuine connection.
Whereabouts are you from?
Dumfries and Galloway?
I'm not going to act like I know where that is.
You know what it is? He doesn't have the ego that Javen had. Javen had this like young attitude, like this like, you know, little fuckboy energy. This guy doesn't have that. He just has kind of sweet energy. I don't know how to, you're seeing what I'm seeing probably, maybe. Let me know in the comment sections. But yeah, he's not egotistical. If anything, he might be a little bit more anxious compared, right, to Javen. So he might be less of the traditional dominant alpha male. And I really hope that none of the girls here want that, because ew. But this guy does not make me feel like he watches Andrew Tate. And that is a good sign.
Is there, I don't know what the languages they speak in Nigeria. Do they speak Nigerian?
I can speak Yoruba because that's where I'm from. I used to live with my grandma. She passed away a few years ago. She was like my best friend.
He's from Nigeria. His grandma was his best friend. She died a few years ago. He seems like a really like sensitive kind of soul.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Oh, you're just adorable.
Like, what does your wedding look like?
Oh, I've not had it yet.
Girl.
Demola is so nice. He's so nice. He's really loving, he's really kind, he's really goofy and funny. We have good energy together.
Pick him.
I just got a little spark and a little feeling, and I'm just trusting that.
Oh, he's 31. I wrote down the wrong age on my paperwork. So they're both 31. They're the same age versus Javen is 28. I wonder, the website I used to get everybody's ages and stuff, I wonder if the website is like a little off compared to the show. I'll have to pay attention to see if the ages were off or if I just wrote it down wrong.
Who was your stand-up?
Katisha.
Really? Yeah. That's interesting.
No, I liked her. She was cool.
There's a saying that the early bird gets the worm. If you want a woman, you've got to pursue her however you want to do it. That's just a part of the game.
But do you think, yeah, like, if you find someone you really like, you're just going to put all your eggs in one basket? There's got to be a bit of a strategy to this. Basically, this is how triangles form. It's all part of the game.
Yeah, he's very like, it's all part of the game. It's how it works. Earlier bird gets the worm. Like, he's seeing her as a prize rather than a consciousness. That's the problem.
Sorry, it's so much.
He's a crier. They're very like emotional together. They're very connected. They're exchanging gifts. They were a little goofy together. She gave him a pack of thimbles she collects from her travels. I assume they're the first couple who's going to see each other. I assume they might even match by the end of this episode.
It just makes me want to see you even more and just start life together.
Yeah. What's the first thing you want to do when you see me?
First thing that came to my mind was I'm going to tell you I love you.
Okay, girl.
Oh my god,
I'm shaking.
Like,
Oh, does she love him back, or is she just saying it? No, I think she's into him. Is she in love with him? Who knows? But they definitely are into each other.
I love you too.
I know myself, I'm just doing me, and I feel like I'm doing the right things. So, and hey, look, it's not going to be the fairy tale for everyone.
So this is Kieran, and also in a love triangle with Megan and Sophie. So, okay, so we've got two love triangles.
What would you say your biggest insecurities?
I don't know. I feel like when it comes to like relationships and stuff, I can be a bit insecure about what I do.
And this is Megan. Already, you know, she's been, I think both of them have been very vulnerable with one another. And Sophie's the one who's rigid and has a wall up, right? We learned that last episode. So already he's asking her like a really vulnerable question, and she's just being honest, right? Instead of cracking a joke or sidestepping the question, she's just answering, which is probably going to bode well for him feeling comfortable in picking her. But why do I feel like he's going to pick Sophie? Maybe because I feel like Sophie's a main character. She gives main character vibes. I feel like he's going to choose her for that reason. And weirdly, the same reason I feel like Javen could feel like more like main character vibes, but I still want Katisha to choose Damalo. I think like that'd be better, but we'll see what happens.
How about you?
Like everyone, I have them, of course.
Please note that the main characterness of it comes from them being more blunt, not from them being better. I think sometimes like main character feels on TV shows, the drama is more likely, the paying attention to them is more likely just because they're so like, you know, Javen talks about it's a game, which brings the opportunity for Netflix to have more drama. But then at the same time, something in our brain also feels sometimes like picking the person who's more, quote, confident is reassurance that they love us, when in reality, like that bluntedness is, you know, and especially in Javen's case, isn't even about love, it's about winning. So we have to be careful not to choose the, quote, main character feel or the blunt person just because we think they really want us. Sometimes they just want to win.
So my parents did get divorced when I was 3, so I don't really remember them together. My mum was not a mummy mum at all.
Oh.
I love her to pieces, and we've worked quite hard in our relationship since I've been an adult. In a relationship, realistically, I'm probably a little bit needy.
Kieran, okay, very vulnerable, very true, very like transparently honest. Parents got divorced when he was 3, has a fear of having kids and getting divorced. His mother was not much of a mother. But, you know, he's done some work as he's gotten into his adulthood, and he's being honest and transparent, which I really appreciate.
It makes me want to look at my future wife and say, you're going to be a really, you know, caring mother.
He wants to marry somebody who will be a caring mother, who will be there in the way his mother wasn't, which is so fair.
I can't imagine the love I will have for the mother of my children. I think, it'll be off the scale. Do you know what I mean?
You're just a gorgeous human, aren't you? So important to be able to like share that love with your child. Like my mum was always really amazing with me, and like I don't know my real dad.
Okay.
So she always like gave us everything that we needed. And then like when I was about 5 or 6, I had zero contact with him. I was like serving at the bar, and this couple came in like really close to the end of the night, and I just knew he was my dad.
Oh, whoa. That's why I say we are so casual with bringing babies into the universe, like a whole consciousness. And we don't think about exactly these situations, right? Like we have to understand that these adults are sharing how their parents' decisions impacted them, gave them issues, you know, gave them all of these things. And, you know, you could form issues all kinds of ways, right? My parents have been together forever. They have a really strong marriage. And yet I still managed to date really toxically in my 20s, but it wasn't because I grew up with a bad relationship, for a lot of other reasons, right? Growing up religious, being a queer kid, moving out, you know, realizing and seeking liberation through craziness. So realizing I didn't want to be religious, basically, it just led me down a messy path. And had I had parents who weren't so homophobic, I think my life would have been better. But it wasn't their marriage that was the issue. It was the philosophy. It was morals and values and ethics, which is like really interesting. How do you know how to choose a partner that's really has the same values as you? And how do you know you're not just choosing a partner because they're there and you like them? Because, you know, just because you like somebody doesn't mean they're your partner. They also have to be somebody you share values with and you're compatible with and you can do life with and you can trust them. You know, I just want us to pay more attention to when we bring a baby into the universe, and just to remember, like, they're impacted by your decisions.
Like he just didn't speak.
Did you say hello?
No, I just served them like normal.
So she sees her bio dad, who she hadn't seen since she was a kid, walk into the pub she was working in, and he kind of ignored her. She ignored him because, you know, what are you supposed to do there? I haven't seen you in years. But when she came back for her second shift, following day or week or whatever, he had left her a card. That's crazy. Whoa.
The card was just nothing.
Yeah, that's hard.
My mum's relationships have definitely impacted how I like open up to men. I didn't really see a loving, happy relationship growing up.
Okay, see, I didn't see a loving, healthy relationship. It's so funny. Again, we don't, you know, do less bad every day. We don't philosophically try to become better people because it's going to guarantee anything, but because it just adds to the probability, right? So, I do like the way she is more vulnerable with Kieran than I think Sophie is able to be. And I like her a lot more for Kieran. I just, you know, at this stage in my life, I am just really impressed and encouraged by people who are able to say, this is my feeling. Here are my thoughts. Here are my vulnerabilities. Here's what I'm working on. Where are you at? Versus these people playing games. And I think Sophie's playing games. And I think Javen's playing games. Honestly, Javen and Sophie should get together because they're so good at playing games together. But, you know, I'm over it. I don't care if it's because you're traumatized. I don't care what it is, but you're not ready to be someone's partner if you're still playing games.
I just know my mum's like amazing and has so much potential, like, and love to give. And she's just never, ever, ever had the right person.
She's crying for her mother. She's saying, I know my mother is a good person. She deserves love. She's never found that person. Your mother is you. on her own timeline. She deserves to go through her journey and figure herself out the same way you're figuring yourself out. That's one of the best ways to humanize our parents, is to remember that they're just like us on a journey, right? They just happen to have kids in the same way that if we had kids, it would feel similarly. Like our parents are just us, there's somebody else's kid trying to figure it out. And so, I wish our parents would be free enough to go like, remember that, to be those people, to figure themselves out, right?
Your mum sounds like an amazing person. Why do you think you're ready now?
I just have like so much faith. There's like that fairy tale ending for me. Yeah, I'm just like so ready to meet that right person.
He asked a great question. Why do you think you're ready for long-term partnership? And she just said, I'm ready for that fairy tale ending. Companionship is so much more than the fairy tale, right? It's a real commitment. It's serious. That person's really going to depend on you the way you depend on yourself. Like, it's not just you anymore. Now you have another person. Just like it should be that serious when you have kids, but people are way too casual, because a lot of us are having kids or finding partners to fill some hole in our life. And I really think you need to love the consciousness before, in my mind, in the best scenario, to really love the consciousness so you can do life with them. Not because they are filling a need in you or a hole in you, but because you are two individuals who decided to be on a team, right? So I'm worried for her a little bit that she might not be ready, but I think depending on how this is edited and how much they've talked, maybe they know more about each other, or maybe he could be reassured. I don't know if Kieran is going to like this answer. It's not a very satisfying answer, but to be fair, the conversations thus far on this season, and I understand we're only on episode 2, have been very superficial, which is so ironic since last episode I said the reason I love Love is Blind is they force you to have, deep conversations fast. Though they're asking deep questions, they're not really speaking very deeply. Questions are really, really important, but the answers are wanting,
Being able to get deep with someone and get open with someone is such an important part of a relationship, and I'm not sure I've had that in the past.
Okay, so Kieran just said for him, this is deep. This is very, unique. He's never had that, so that's good.
Very excited to talk to you again. Now, that's the honest truth. I am very much ready to open my book.
Okay, so now Sophie and Kieran are talking, and he's fully making it clear, I like you. I want to get to know you. I want to get as deep as we're going to get. Like, I want to have that conversation. Let's see if Sophie can do it.
Yeah, it's a little bit scary.
Kind of the point, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I know, but I don't do that.
Talk to me about what you want to do with your life. Like, what are the big things that you feel like, I wish I could do that, and, hopefully with me.
Great questions, Kieran. He's a good question person.
Some of mine are like quite superficial.
What are those things?
There's a few designer bags on that list.
She was correct in saying that some of them are very superficial. The man asks you what your biggest goals in life are, and you said designer bags. Yeah, Kieran does not feel like a materialistic kind of guy. I feel like he's got to go with Megan.
And then other things is just traveling.
I've done quite a few, and quite a few of Japan was top of my list.
What do you want to do with your life? And it's just like, yeah, I want to travel and I want to buy designer bags. Good for you, girly. You do you. One of the big bubble pops I had in relation to capitalism is tourists and traveling, especially now that I live in Europe. And there's protests going on in Europe over tourism and how it just ruins local economies. And I know that it boosts local economies. I'm from California. I'm from a tourist city. I get it. But it's one of those things where, there's something very even materialistic and superficial about people who want to travel to other countries because they're not even going to really immerse or enjoy. They're going to like spend money and do that capitalistic, superficial money thing. It's just interesting.
What does success look like for you?
I feel like I'm in it right now, if I'm honest. Yeah, I always say I've got success in my life, but not in my love life. Like, it's literally the only thing I'm not successful at. I don't let people in, if I'm honest.
Okay, so she feels successful in her life, but now when it comes to love, and now her wall is going up, but she's also being vulnerable and expressing that I do feel like I never do this. So she's kind of like in the way she talks. It's not like Megan is very soft and just vulnerable. She is like, so we'll see how this goes. I hope she doesn't feel too betrayed if she opens up and is vulnerable and then he doesn't pick her, because I think, sometimes you got to learn to be open and vulnerable, even if it's not all the way with people, in order to even learn how to do it with yourself, let alone others. And remember, Sophie needs to have ultimately a relationship with herself and a relationship with things outside of herself. But first and foremost, she needs to have a relationship with herself, which she might think she has because she's a girl boss, materialistic, capitalistic, girl boss, lean in kind of trope. But those are superficial relationships with the self. You are not, defined by what's in your bank account or what designer bags you have. So I would just encourage her, or people in this position to just remember that you don't have to be a monk in the mountains, but you also can get a designer bag, but also you are not defined by those things.
To be honest with you, I'd say there's a lot more to explore. Like, in order for us to connect on a level where you could fall in love, like we're obviously not there yet, right?
Okay, blunt, communicative, very good, Kieran.
Do you think I'm open? Do you think I'm more open now than day one?
I feel like the door is creaking open. That's kind of what I'm looking for, Safe.
Okay, so they're well aware that she has a door. We can see the struggle between the two of them, but there seems to be a level of real kindness here. You know, I think I'm not seeing a bitterness from him. I'm seeing a caution. I'm not seeing anger from her. I'm seeing caution, you know?
I'm now trying to question, am I self-sabotaging? I sit there and it's nice and I feel safe to be open and vulnerable with him, but it's a very alien feeling.
I'm still getting maybe neurodivergent vibes from her. I feel like I still see it in her. There could be something at play there. I like that she's self-aware. She's saying, am I self-sabotaging? You know, what do I do about it? Or at least, well, maybe she's not. Maybe she's still questioning if she is, but even if she wasn't self-sabotaging, that doesn't mean Kieran is her person. So, you know, this is why love is so difficult, connecting is so difficult, philosophy, introspection is so difficult, because you have to let go of the attachment to outcome. The idea is that dating is to see if you like a person to do life with, let's say, in this context. Dating doesn't guarantee you will meet the person you want to do life with, nor does existing on the planet for 80 years. You don't know if you're ever going to run into that person. So you have to let go of the idea of ever meeting that person in order to really accept, you know, whatever happens, happens, and it doesn't rock your joy. It's because if you're still coping, you're like, I don't need a man, I don't need anybody, I'm single, I'm a girl boss, I'm Sophie. That's not letting go of the attachment. That's actually being so attached, but pretending you're not attached. You need to organically embody letting go of the attachment so you can accept people who come into your life organically for who they are as a consciousness and not as, you know, whatever you think they should be or whatever else.
I don't think I've truly been myself with anybody romantically or intimately, and the fact that you've been able to do that and make me feel the way I do about you, which is that I love you.
I thought my time had come and passed and I would never find this feeling again. Blow me away with your kindness, your trust, your sense of humour. For this, I was unsure if love was blind, but it has truly taught me that love can be blind. I love you and I want to ask you to marry me.
Billy, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Yes, I will marry you.
And just like that, our first couple has matched. All right, we saw that coming. We knew they were going to connect. I'm very happy for them. All right, let's go ahead and end it there. Very interesting. Excited to read your comments in the sections down below. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share this with somebody watching the series, and I'll see you for the next one.